Greg Moore here, AZ Central Sports, along with Michelle Gardner, our ASU insider, along with Jeff Metcalfe, our ASU insider. ASU's just lost to Stanford 20-13. It's another one-score loss. This one feels a little bit worse because it looks like ASU is going to have a really rough stretch qualifying for a bowl game going here forward, and it looks like they're going to have a rough stretch qualifying for a good bowl game. But let's talk about what happened against Stanford. Coach Herm in the postgame said it came down to turnovers, penalties, and drop passes. So let's start off with talking about the penalties. Jeff, you heard from Danny Gonzalez on the pass interference calls?
Yeah, Danny's the defensive coordinator. He was not happy with any of the 3 pass interference penalties that they called. He felt 2 of them were balls that were uncatchable and shouldn't have been called. And on another one, he said that the Stanford receiver was actually holding the ASU player, not the other way around. And he had talked to the official before the game, said they did the same thing against Notre Dame, and the Notre Dame player got called for a penalty. So he was very steamed about that, and then just generally felt like they played a very solid game, but you can't give up those 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, get behind 2 touchdowns. It just puts the offense in too much of a hole.
Now, speaking of the hole the offense was in, that comes back to the drop passes, that comes back to the turnovers, and those ended up involving Manny Wilkins. Manny Wilkins was not as accurate as we'd like to see him, and he came in and spoke, and well, Michelle, tell us, what'd you see?
That was a very, very upset Manny Wilkins. We know he's an emotional kid. He really wore this loss. He said, "It's on me." The interception, the fumble, he literally took the blame for this loss and said he expects better.
Now listen, we're going to have coverage on this. Jeff's going to write, Michelle's going to write, I'm writing. It's just one of those things where these one-score losses are adding up. These missed opportunities are adding up, and they're really starting to define the season. ASU is searching for answers. Herman Edwards said that if he had it, he'd feed it to his team. If he had the formula, he'd feed it to them. But we're going to have to see what happens. They're going to go back to the drawing board next week. Again, Michelle's going to have coverage. Jeff's going to have coverage. I'm going to be writing. This has been Greg Moore from Michelle Gardner, Jeff Metcalfe, AZ Central Sports.